people here today, and I just wanted to welcome you to Burlington Transit. We're always thrilled to have visitors joining us here. My name is Catherine Baldelli. I'm the Director of Transit here at Burlington, and I'm alongside many distinguished guests, members of council, and MP Van Koeverden. So before we begin, I will start out with the land acknowledgement. Burlington, as we know it today, is rich in history and modern traditions of the many First Nations and the Métis, from the Anishinaabe to the Haudenosaunee and the Métis. Our lands spanning from Lake Ontario to the Niagara Escarpment are steeped in Indigenous history. The territory is mutually covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Iroquois Confederacy, the Ojibwe, and other allied nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. We would like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is part of the treaty lands and the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. I invite MP Adam Van Koeverden to provide our remarks and announcement.
Thanks very much, Catherine. Nice to be here with you all again. We were just here a couple of months ago, in fact, for another announcement, except we were facing the other direction. The buses were too. So to whoever managed to turn the buses around here in this depot, great work. I don't think I could three-point turn a bus this size. But good morning, everybody. Thank you, Catherine, for the thoughtful land acknowledgement. Thank you to members of council, your worship, members of the media, members of Burlington Transit. Wherever you work and whatever brought you here today, we're very grateful for your attendance. It's a huge honor and privilege to be here to provide an update on some funding for public transit here in the great city of Burlington. My name is Adam Van Koeverden. I'm the Member of Parliament for Milton, which is a constituency that includes some of Burlington, in fact. I'm the very, very proud third Member of Parliament for Burlington. We're lucky here to have three. People know that the boundaries are changing a little bit, and I'm excited to work more and more with my colleagues here in the great city of Burlington. The federal government, we're taking a new modern approach to long-term transit funding, making sure that it's reliable, one that strengthens planning and partnerships and allows cities like Burlington, who are ambitious about their transit plans, to forecast into the future. Our government's focused on building a brighter future for Canadians, and we continue to advance on priorities that will create a more prosperous, more resilient, and more affordable community for everyone. And to be truly successful in that regard, achieving a strong, resilient community, we need to be aligned with our municipal partners in our approaches to infrastructure, to transit, to housing investments, wherever and whenever we can be. We know that quality infrastructure is the foundation to strong and healthy communities because it allows communities to grow and expand, and it supports the construction of more affordable homes. When people have access to essential infrastructure, programs, and services, it allows them to focus on their priorities. It allows them to achieve their goals. It allows them to spend more time with their family, their friends, working, playing, or focusing on their health. Reliable public transit is essential to making communities accessible, affordable, and connected. And many people rely on public transit for their day-to-day activities, to get to where they need to go. And I would just add, it's not just people who don't own cars or people who are too young to get a driver's license. A lot of people who have vehicles in their driveway choose to take transit because it's more environmentally friendly and more convenient, and leaving a car at home for other loved ones to use during the day is also very cost effective. So when we need to make sure that we invest in transit to ensure that affordability, convenience, and smart growth are top of mind. Since 2015, the federal government has been making unprecedented investments in public transit infrastructure. We've invested over $30 billion in close to 2,000 transit and active transportation projects right across the country. It is suffice to say that we are the government that has invested the most in public transit ever in Canada. And just this past July, the federal government announced a new program called the Canada Public Transit Fund, or CPTF, which provides permanent funding for public transit and active transportation infrastructure beginning in 2026-2027. The CPTF is an all-encompassing, innovative approach to funding with long-term partnerships between the federal government, provinces, municipalities, transit agencies, and Indigenous communities right across the great country of Canada. To provide transit funding that meets the unique needs of communities of all sizes, the CPTF CPTF delivers investments through these 3 streams. First, metro region agreements for some of the largest cities in Canada, like Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. Secondly, baseline agreements, like the city of Burlington, and targeted funding for smaller communities and rural communities, Indigenous communities right across the country. So today I'm excited to announce a significant milestone in how we are investing in public transit right here in Burlington. Through the CPTF baseline funding stream, the federal government will be providing an allocation of nearly $1.4 million annually for a total investment of $14 million over the next decade. This funding, Rory wants to clap, and I think we should join him in clapping. Rory's a big fan, Councillor Nissen is a big fan of public transit, just like I am. This is a total of nearly $14 million to support the growth, the rehabilitation, the replacement of Burlington's transit system. And I would just add that cities who are more ambitious on providing great public transit to their constituents and their communities and their neighbors have received more through this program. And that's fantastic to see. Congratulations to Burlington, and I know that Burlington residents who are on the higher end of suburban transit users are grateful for this support. Transit investments also play a really important role in growing our communities, supporting the development of more affordable housing, and housing of all kinds. The CPTF builds on our past commitments to public transit right here in Burlington. Just in November last year, as I started in saying, the federal government, in partnership with the government of Ontario and the city of Burlington, announced a combined investment of nearly $17 million through the public transit infrastructure stream of the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. This investment is supporting the purchase of new buses, including hybrid and electric buses, to replace aging vehicles within these fleets. Other projects we're supporting will expand specialized transit vehicles, contribute to the development of a 5-year transit plan, and install solar-powered digital information screens at bus stops. These projects are examples of how investments in public transit strengthen our communities by supporting affordable living, boosting the reliability and the sustainability of public transit services, and promoting social inclusion. Additionally, through streams like the Zero Emissions Transit Fund, the Rural Transit Solutions Fund, and the Active Transportation Fund, we continue to invest in important transit projects right across the country that are making positive differences in communities right across our country. I would note that both the Rural Transit Solutions Fund and the Active Transportation Fund recently opened up their new intakes, so anybody here from the city of Burlington that does all the essential work on grant writing, those opportunities are currently open. And I just want to say that today's announcement could not be possible without the phenomenal partnerships and collaboration that we have, in particular the city of Burlington. So to members of council, to mayor, to all the staff of the city and of Burlington Transit, thank you very, very much for continuing to build one of the best communities in the world to live. Truly, that's true. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. We often talk about quality of life, and we know that Burlington always scores very, very high on quality of life, and this is one of those reasons, because affordability is one of the most important concerns of Canadians, and this promotes affordability. This promotes livable communities. This supports connected communities, green communities, public transit's where it's at. So it's another example of how working together to invest in the infrastructure in our towns, cities, and communities build stronger and more resilient, sustainable Canadian towns and cities. So I'm really excited to see the results and the benefits this funding has already started to have here in Burlington, and now it's my sincere honor and privilege to invite my friend and our colleague, Her Worship Mayor Marianne Meed to speak on behalf of this impact and the investment here in Burlington. Over to you, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Adam. We are so lucky to have the representatives that we have here at both the federal and the provincial level who advocate on behalf of our shared constituents every single day. So I want to thank you for being here and for bringing this excellent news. I also want to thank all our friends in the media for being here. We don't often have this kind of turnout for a transit announcement. But it's great that you have all been able to join us. And I do want to give kudos to all of our staff here in the city of Burlington, our transit staff, of course, who are huge advocates of making sure that everyone can get around our fine city, and also council. I've been on council since 2010, seeing different ideas of transit and we used to have to fight transit fare increases. on the previous council. We used to have to fight for any new investment in public transit, and those days it is so different. Our current council, every single person on this council is a huge supporter of transit, and it's more than a way to get around. It is about equity, it is about democracy, it is about being able to fully participate in the life of this city and the incredible amenities that are here. If you can't get from here to there, you can't participate. It is as simple as that. And I have always been both a user and a passionate advocate of transit. Back in the day, I used to go to high school and public school for a quarter. So I know I'm dating myself a little bit there, but I experienced the ability to get around my own city using transit, and I want to make sure that everyone has that opportunity. And my very first interaction with the city, long before I became a councillor, was to be a volunteer member of our Burlington Transit Advisory Committee. So this runs deep and has a lot of history. So it's especially a special day for me to be able to come here and talk about additional investments in transit, but also the ambition of our city to continue to grow that. So, on behalf of the City of Burlington, I really want to thank the federal government and our friends, Adam Van Koeverden, Pam Damoff, Karina Gould, our representatives who have advocated for us every single day for the $14 million investment in public transit today. This is baseline, predictable, sustainable funding. It is exactly what we've been asking for so that we can plan the transit system of today, but the transit system of tomorrow. Without that predictability, it makes it very hard for us to buy buses, plan our routes, and invest in a transit system that works for our residents. So we want our residents to be able to choose to use transit, not simply because it's their only choice. We want people to be able to say, actually, it's more efficient and cheaper and better for me to take transit than private vehicle. We want our people to be able to see transit as a connection point for them. Our long-term vision for transit is also centered around the population growth that we know is coming to our GO stations. So we have significant new communities that are being built in and around each of the 3 GO stations, partly to give people other transportation options besides cars. We know that we need to do that. And our investments over the years in transit has led to a staggering increase in ridership. From 2019 to 2023, we saw a 21% increase in transit ridership. That is a spectacular achievement, and I want to credit our staff for doing that. Thank you. And last year we saw over 3.2 million trips that are taken on our buses. Now, I often hear from residents, what are you doing about traffic congestion in the city? What are you doing to make my commute a little easier? And I say, we're giving 3.2 million trips the option to take it on transit. Not 3.2 million people, but 3.2 million trips that are not competing with you for road space on our roads. Imagine if we didn't have a viable transit system and all of those 3.2 million trips were a single passenger vehicle on our road. And we're going to continue to grow our system to see even more trips that people choose to take on public transit. That is one of the key solutions to traffic congestion in our city. So we are also improving the service for residents. Adding more buses helps to do that, reducing the time between buses arriving so that people, if they miss this one, they're not waiting an hour, they can get on the next one more quickly. We're also offering free transit to people in our community. So we have really pioneered over the years, and other municipalities are now following our lead. We have offered free transit for seniors in our community 24/7, youth under 12, young people, high school students, evenings and weekends, and later this year we will be considering additional measures to make transit free for our youth in our community. People who are on low income, split pass from the region, they cover 50%, we pick up the other 50%. So we have been continually offering people who need it and people who are regular users a break, keeping more money in your pocket while you make the choice to use our transit system. So, in short, transit gets cars off the road, is good for the environment, but it also connects our people to the wonderful life of our city, #1 city in the country. So with that, I would now like to turn it over to Councillor Nissan, who is our Deputy Mayor for the Environment, which also includes transit and transportation, to say a few words.
Those were fantastic remarks, Marianne. Thanks for allowing me the opportunity to speak as well. Can we have another hand for the mayor for absolutely doing that? Thank you. I think my speech will be about half as long as it was going into this, because you hit all the major points. Now, today is a big day for public transit in Burlington, but it's one of many big days in support of our transportation needs. As Adam mentioned, we were just here a few weeks ago, and so this funding is stacking. It's going to make a big difference. It already is, actually, and the results are there with that ridership increase, 3.2 million. If anybody wants to say that the buses are empty in Burlington, well, how are those 3.2 million people getting where they need to go? Clearly, the bus is on the rise, well above pre-pandemic levels, and I think it's quite impressive. Now, first of all, I do want to thank the federal government, the Honourable Karina Gould, members of Parliament Pam Damoff and Adam Van Koeverden, because all three of you are great advocates for Burlington. You're part of this project of modernizing Burlington, getting us at the forefront of the transportation needs. So I'm really grateful for that. I met with several of you in Ottawa in December, and we talked exactly about this. That was on behalf of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. So it's incredible to see how we can all work together and see it coming together now, but also seeing it in the results that we're delivering for Burlington. So the $14 million investment is a major milestone. Now, when I was a teenager growing up in Burlington, taking public transit wasn't really part of the equation, I'll be honest. I'll be more honest. As a teenager, I probably would have been caught dead at a bus stop. I didn't want to see my friends driving by, honking the horn at me and waving at me, but that's different today. If you're driving around or you're on the bus, you're gonna see teenagers and kids all the time. You see them lining up at outside of MM Robinson High School for their turn to catch the bus. I was on the #1 bus here in Burlington during the pandemic by the Walmart. I couldn't even get on the first bus. I had to wait for the second. Fortunately, it was only 5 minutes later. So that was during the pandemic. So the bus is working really well here. It's a culture shift, and I think the change is actually beginning to take hold. It's now becoming more than just a way to get around, but more of a cornerstone of building a livable and thrivable community. It's helping people meet their daily needs when they're going to work or school or to a medical appointment. But it's also tackling those issues that Marianne and Adam brought up around affordability and congestion. Talking about congestion, it is getting worse in Burlington. There's no doubt about it. The region's population is growing and growing fast, and so there's more cars on the road. But the solution isn't just about building more roads, although we're doing that as well. You see the bridge that's being built, the Wycroft Road Bridge. And I want to thank Chair Carr for being a big part at Halton Region for meeting our transportation needs. Thanks for being here, Chair. And still, public transit is one of the most effective ways to fight congestion. Every person who takes transit is one less car on the road, less gridlock, shorter commutes, and cleaner air as well. So with this investment, we're going to make public transit even more attractive by modernizing our fleet, improving reliability, and making routes more efficient. But it's also tackling those affordability challenges that people are facing. The rising cost of living, which are impacting everyone. Public transit is a practical way to reduce household expenses. We're making it more reliable, more accessible, cheaper, sometimes free. We're giving people that option to leave their cars at home or skip owning a car, or maybe just have a one-car family, right? That saves thousands of dollars a year in gas, insurance, maintenance. And then, of course, there's the environmental benefits of getting people where they need to go in this more sustainable way. So the stable, predictable funding, the 10 years is absolutely remarkable. Don't sleep on that. It's not just a one-time offer here. This is 10 years, 1.4 million, over 10, equaling $14 million. That is so critical to us to be able to plan ahead so that we are setting ourselves up for success. So, just imagine 10 years, maybe down the road, since that's the length of this funding, where public transit is like a great choice. Clean, quiet, electric buses taking commuters to work. And this funding isn't just for public transit, it's for active transportation as well, so bike lanes and pedestrian pathways. So imagine those being integrated seamlessly with the bus and our transit routes, so families can walk or bike to the bus stop and then get on the bus. And then the air, of course, is fresher as well. So this funding is helping us modernize what we already have, but it's also empowering us to think bigger, to create an integrated transportation network that truly serves everyone in our growing community. And that's the kind of Burlington that the mayor and members of council, Councillor Stolte is here, Councillor Ventavenia is here, Councillor Galbraith is here. We've got a quorum because people really care about this issue. And like the mayor said, everybody supports public transit on Burlington Council, so thank you for coming as well. That's the kind of Burlington that we need to work towards, where public transit is a real solution. We are getting there, we are on track. So it's an investment in our residents and the future of the city. And so we're building this Burlington. It's going to be less congested, I hope, more connected, and better prepared for the challenges of tomorrow. So thank you to the federal government for making this possible. I'm very excited to see how this investment will transform Burlington in 1, 5, and 10 years and improve the daily lives of our residents. So thank you very much. And now I'd like to invite Jackie Johnson, our Commissioner of Community Services, to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Nason. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. So I'm Jacqueline Johnson, and as the Commissioner of Community Services, I'm thrilled to highlight how this funding will help us better serve our community. I'd like to thank the federal government for their incredible investment of nearly $14 million through the Canada Public Transit Fund. But I also want to thank Mayor and members of Council for your ongoing support to transit services. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to achieve the incredible milestones that we've achieved. This funding demonstrates a shared commitment to building a connected, sustainable future for our city. The Canada Public Transit Fund provides the stability we need to plan for the future. Over the next 10 years, this funding could support transit expansion, infrastructure upgrades, and service improvements. Predictable funding is vital for cities like Burlington to meet mobility goals and address our growing population, as you've heard this morning. Burlington Transit saw more than 3.2 million trips last year, and that is an incredible increase of 14% from the previous year. And it's a real testament to the value of public transit in our community. The funding will allow us to complete our next transit master plan and a 5-year business plan, focusing on expanding service frequency and reliability. We'll increase routes offering 15-minute service or better during peak hours, making transit a convenient option for more residents. Baseline funding will also ensure we maintain and expand our system to support our growing population. This investment isn't just about infrastructure or buses, it's also about people. It's about making transit more reliable and efficient for our riders, safe and comfortable. It's about giving our transit staff the tools they need to deliver excellent service. And it's about creating a city where everyone can thrive, whether it's by connecting to jobs, schools, essential services, or social programs. So once again, I'd like to thank the federal government for this invaluable support. Together, we're building a transit system that works for today and prepares us for tomorrow. A system that connects our community and protects our environment. I look forward to seeing these plans come to life and the positive impacts that they'll have on the Burlington community. Thank you. I will turn it back over to Adam Van Koeverden, our Director of Transit, to do some closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline, and I just wanted to say thank you for everybody joining us here today. Chair Gary Carr from Halton Region, thank you for joining us, and our members of council who are here today, Mayor Meed Ward, Councillor Nissan, Councillor Stolte, Councillor Galbraith, and Councillor Betanvenia. And thank you to our CAO, Hassan Bassett, for joining us here today. And thank you for Jacqueline Johnson, our commissioner, being here as well. So we're going to do a quick photo walk first, and then we will take questions.